What's happening, y'all? It's Friday, Friday. What's happening on this lovely Friday? This week was a week, man. I've been recently doing this thing. It's called adulting. I probably said that funny. It's called adulting. It's called adulting. And in this thing that I like to call adulting, right? I've discussed this many times before in many different ways that not adulting in the sense of, going to work, paying bills, completing adult tasks in that sense, because that's the adulting that I am just naturally forced to do to get by and to live. So that's not the adulting that I'm referring to. The adulting that I'm referring to is behaving like an adult and carrying myself like an adult when I still have ways about me mentally that I would like to just act how I want and be how I want. Be childish, be petty, be like other people. So, one of the things in my life that has never been easy for me is communication. Funny enough, um, a lot of people tell me that I'm a great communicator now, and generally my communication is good, as in just I can speak with anyone. I'm good at managing conflicts. I'm good at managing external conflicts. I'm good at being somebody's mediator when the conflict doesn't involve me. I'm good at writing letters when it comes to a job, grievance, stuff like that. I'm very good with that. What I'm not good with is when things bother me especially in a personal way, or not just that, when things bother me in a personal way, or if I'm just flat out, I did something wrong or I said the wrong thing, whatever, and it's just as simple as I have to circle back and apologize. It's not that I have the hard time with the apology part of it. I just have a hard time. I'm awkward. I'm kind of awkward with the way that I approach those situations. I wish it came easier for me, but anything that you want to do, change, achieve, you can do it with practice. Because I've had maybe 2 or 3 things just in this past couple of months where things made me angry. And my tendency when I'm angry is actually not to lash out, it's to kind of just regress in a sense of, hi, Chocolate, and hi, Victor. My tendency is to just, think about it and be like, you know what? Um, does this person have to be in my life? As funny as that sounds, that's really what I think. Does this person have to be in my life? Even in a work environment, let's say somebody from another department walked up to me and said something crazy, or even potentially somebody in my own department, right? Walked up to me and said something crazy to me, right? I would be thinking, do I have to interact with this person again? Is it a necessity for me to have another follow-up interaction with this person? If no, don't say anything. My growth and adulting that I'm talking about is now I try to resolve everything. And don't get me wrong, it always means fix. An analogy about that. Thank you for that, Chocolate. I'll give you an analogy about that. When I was in high school or when I was in college, I had just started college. I'd never bench pressed in my life. And I had a roommate who had been in the gym for like 3, 4 months. He had never bench pressed before either, but he started bench pressing and built up some muscle over like 3 to 4 months. He was taking his protein shakes and his creatine and all that stuff, right? And so he invited me to come to the gym. He was my roommate, and he invited me to come to the gym with him. He was like, "Let's go to the gym together. Let's lift some weights, blah blah blah." So he's like, "Yo, let's get on this bench." So he put all this weight on the bench. I think probably about 200 pounds. 200 pounds. I mean, if push came to shove, I could probably push 200 pounds on a bench at this point, but I don't bench anymore because of what happened that first time. So he put the 200 pounds on the rack. He stood behind me. He was in no kind of position that you're supposed to be in to help spot somebody when they're doing their bench press. And then, who's in the chat? Hi, Ed. Baron James. Okay. Anyways, he's like, all right, so what you need to do is push off the 200 pounds off the rack and then let it down slowly. And as many reps as you can, and if you're not able to do it, advice for a guy who's all probably 160 pounds at that time and never benched anything in my life, never used a bench in my life. So I pushed off as hard as I can. I got the weight off uh, of the rack. I took the weight off of the rack, and then took the weight off of the rack, and I was able to push it up myself. Sorry, I'm following directions at the same time. I was able to take the weight off the rack myself, and he was like, "Yo, that's all you, man. That's all you. You got that." It was all me, but to get the weight off the rack is like a very short distance and push, and that is not an indication of your actual strength. To it's your ability to get the weight off the bench, but then to let it down slowly and then push it back up. Letting it down, being able to control your descent when you let the weights down and then push it back up. That's really where most of your strength comes from, or most of your strength is shown. See you later, Chocolate. That's where most of your strength is shown. So, anyways, he said let it down slowly. So I was like, all right, let me let it down slowly. So I started to let it down, and then I did not have the strength at all to let it down slowly. So it just flat out just dropped on my chest. The bar, the bar, why can I not think of the name? The bar and the plates, the bar and the plates, they all just fell on my chest, and everybody ran over. Oh, and my wrists, both of them bent backwards this other way, but nothing broke. My ligaments just got stretched in my wrist. and it was extremely painful. I remember like two or three guys running over and lifting the bar off my chest and being like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Like, can you breathe properly? Is your chest hurting?" Thankfully, it's not like it cracked any ribs or anything like that, because you see those gym fail videos where people's ribs get cracked and stuff like that. So yeah, so I had to do 6 months of physical therapy on each wrist. So on the first wrist, I remember when I first went into the therapy, they had me do all of these exercises, strength test, flexibility, grip strength, all this different stuff, right? And that was their assessment of, how damaged my wrist was or whatever. So I remember we did the therapy for 6 months. I remember they said, "Oh, now we're up for your assessment, your 6 month assessment." I said, "Okay." So I did all those same tests that they gave me before, and then they were like, "Okay, looks like you're done." And I said, "Looks like I'm done what?" "Looks like you're done with physical therapy." And I was like, "How am I done?" If spiders could fly, if spiders could fly, I know a lot of people who just wouldn't want to be around anymore, because I have so many people that I know that are afraid of spiders. Okay, all right. Let's see. Let me try to circle back in my frame of thought to where I was before. So my frame of thought before. So I was talking about the story of how I hurt my wrist. I hope that this picks up where it left off. Um, so after they pulled off the bar and the plates off of my chest, um, I had to do 6 months of physical therapy on each wrist. So I remember that after I finished the 6 months of physical therapy on my left wrist, right? Um, they did all the tests that they did at the beginning, the assessment tests. They did those tests again, and they were like, "Okay, you're done. Your services are done." And I was like, "What do you mean my services are done? My wrist is still in a significant amount of pain. Like, how can you just tell me that I don't need physical therapy anymore?" The physical therapist said something to the effect of, "Mark, um, what is this guy doing?" Anyways, they said something to the effect of Mark, physical therapy being done is not based on whether your pain has been completed or resolved or whatever. We give you a series of tests. We tested the strength, the grip strength, and we tested the flexibility, the range of motion, and whatever else that they had did for tests. They showed me the chart. These were all your numbers when you came in. These are all your numbers right now. So based on those metrics, your issue that you came in with has been resolved. And I was like, what the heck does resolved mean? If you can deny me of more physical therapy services and my injury has not stopped hurting me. And the response was, "Hey, think about it like this. When you take a rubber band, right? You stretch out the rubber band as far as it can go, but the rubber band doesn't snap, but the elasticity in the rubber band changes. The elasticity has now changed in the rubber band permanently. And he's like, well, that's your wrist. It's never gonna feel the same again. Don't lift any weights greater than 10 pounds. Don't go back to the gym. Your life is just over from there. Uh, my reason for saying that story, as when I was connecting, um, probably half an hour ago when I was originally stating this story, the connection of this is that I was saying now I work to resolve issues, and I said resolving is not the same as shoot. What was the other word I was using? Resolving is not the same as fixing. That's what I said. You can resolve something without fixing it, believe it or not. And what I mean by that is like you can go in with the intent of fixing a problem with somebody, and the solution does not come. The solution does not come. Like you didn't come to an agreement or whatever, but at the very least, you stated what you had to say. They stated what they had to say. You move on, agree to disagree or whatever, and that's where um, my adulting has come in. But I'm gonna jump off because there's been too much space, honestly, between my last part that I jumped on this live and this one, and I feel like my train of thought is too scattered to be able to just jump back into it and continue where I left off. So I'm gonna turn this one off, start a new live um in a bit, and then go from there. So in the meantime, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell to get notified of when I drop some more great content. Thank you all. Enjoy your evening. We'll talk again soon.